So now, let's talk about symbolism. So what is symbolism? A symbolism is a literary technique that adds meaning to a short story by using an event or object as a symbol to represent something else. So, there are symbols of symbolism. First is the cultural symbols. These symbols help the reader relate to their environment. So, the reader can better comprehend the setting of the story by using cultural symbols. So, the next symbols is the symbols for intangible objects. So, these symbols will often be used as a subtle focal point of attention. Next is the overt symbols. Many symbols are so overt that it is possible to forget that they are even symbols. And the last symbols are the personal symbols. These symbols can also be personal and not universal. The author may include personal symbols or bizarre symbols in his story. So, there are no limits for personal symbols since this symbol can be defined as any topics or notions and can be anything the author wants it to be. So, next, there are types of symbolism. So, there are three types of symbolism. These are the religious symbolism, romantic symbolism, and the emotional symbolism. First, we will define the religious symbolism. Religious symbolism is the use of art, images, and iconography to convey religious history and the views upheld by a certain religion. So, examples of religious symbolism are Christianity. So, most of us here are Roman Catholic. So, we all know that the cross is a symbol for sacrifice, redemption, and love. So, on the other hand, we also have an example of Judaism, wherein the Star of David is a symbol of the religious affiliation. So, in religious symbolism, in addition to this, many religions have pictures or images, things, and even clothing that serve as symbols of their adherence to the religion, and they have also beliefs that they hold. So, the next symbolism is the romantic symbolism. Romantic symbolism is seen very often in poetry and other mediums of art. So, an example of romantic symbolism that is very obvious is the symbol of romance, which is the heart. The heart is the center for love and life. And next, and the last symbolism is the emotional symbolism. Emotional symbolism is seen very commonly in modern literature, movies, and poetry. Authors and creators of art use physical objects to symbolize the emotional feelings of the world or characters in their story. So, an example of emotional symbolism, makita siya sa colors. Like blue, which symbolizes sadness, yellow symbolizes happiness, and also red for love. So, next is we have here the ways to use symbolism. First way to use symbolism is to add emotion. So, using a symbol to impress an emotion upon a reader can leave a lasting effect. So, a reader might be connected to a character or plot through inspiring an emotional response, which can increase their investment in the story's resolution. So, I have mentioned a while ago the emotional symbolism. So, it is one way to achieve in adding emotion in symbolism. So, just like by using colors. Blue, which symbolizes sadness, yellow, which symbolizes happiness, and red for love. So next way to use symbolism is to add imagery. Authors can use vivid description of imagery within their work to showcase symbolism that is important to the reader. So, imagery has different types, which are the five senses. Visual, sense of sight, olfactory, or the sense of smell, gustatory, or the sense of taste, tactile, sense of touch, auditory, sense of sound. So, an example of an imagery is when someone said that his lips taste as sweet as sugar. So, let's move on to the next way to use symbolism. So, this is the connect themes. So, by using symbolism intermittently throughout a work, authors can connect themes. So, for the last way to use symbolism, we have here defining characters. So, symbolism can also be used to define characteristics of a character in a literary work. So, in a short story, one way to use symbolism is we have to define the characteristics of the characters in a short story. So, that's all for the symbolism of a short story.